that saw 58 players spend time on the roster, the Orioles are looking for any type of consistency around which to build for the future. Rookie of the Year finalist John Means emerged as a staff ace and gives Baltimore a starter it can count on. Outfielder Trey Mancini made the leap, belting 35 homers and cementing his spot as the new face of the franchise. W's will still be hard to come by in the AL East, but if the O's can match their 7-win improvement from a year ago, it will be a sure sign of progress in Charm City. For the Detroit Tigers, 2019 bore a striking similarity to 2018. A stronger than expected start, a crippling losing streak, an irreversible tailspin. Plucking positives from a 114-loss season is never easy, but Detroit did see better than expected performances from a trio of 20-something starters, led by Matthew Boyd and his 238 strikeouts. On offense, youngsters like Kristen Stewart, Willie Castro, and Nico Goodrum will need to step up. Detroit has fallen from 86 wins to just 47 in 4 years. Is 2020 the year they start to reverse the trend? The 2019 season was truly the end of an era for the Seattle Mariners, as they said goodbye to two of the franchise's most iconic players. It is now time for the M's to turn their attention to the future. Entering the 2020 season, Seattle will lean heavily on the veteran leadership of Kyle Seager, the continued development of Marco Gonzalez and Yusei Kikuchi, and a whole lot of youth. The Mariners have spent the last 2 years loading up on prospects and building their farm system. But can they hang in the highly competitive AL West? Pittsburgh hung around the fringes of contention in 2019 until a 2-18 swoon in late July ended their hopes for good. The Pirates now enter 2020 looking for more of everything. More depth, more stability, more pitching. While Pittsburgh will struggle to move up in the standings, if they can find a few more W's, it will be a sign that things are moving in the right direction, and better days may not be too far off. New season, new stadium, new attitude. The Rangers guaranteed a buzz would accompany the opening of Globe Life Field with the acquisition of 2-time Cy Young winner Corey Kluber. Kluber gives Texas a trio of top-line starters to go with an offense that is made to mash. With AL heavyweights Houston and New York making April visits, the Rangers will get an early opportunity to make a statement to the rest of the league that the race for the postseason just got a bit more crowded. In what was supposed to be a transition year, Arizona surprised everyone by winning 85 games and contending for a wildcard berth into the final week. The D-backs made a late push until a 6-game losing streak left the postseason just out of reach. Arizona continued to turn heads in the offseason, signing Madison Bumgarner to solidify the rotation. Whether the D-backs can push LA remains to be seen, but with a wide-open race for the wildcard spots, Arizona believes it has what it takes to make some noise come October. The Red Sox never got out of first gear in 2019. 4 games under 500 at the end of April. Despite a wildly talented lineup, Boston was never really a factor in the AL East race. With the rival Yankees reloading, there is plenty of pressure building in Beantown. Improvement will hinge on a total team effort and a pitching staff that can recapture its 2018 dominance. Over the last 2 seasons, Boston fans have experienced the highs and the lows. Can the Sox get back on track in 2020? It's a new day in the city by the bay. The Giants closed a decade that began with 3 World Series titles in 5 years by posting 3 straight losing seasons. Opportunities will abound for what the team hopes is a new generation of Giant superstars. While San Francisco may take a step back in the win column, this is a franchise building for the long term. And 2020 offers an early glimpse at what may be a very bright future. Let the kids play. That's the rallying cry for the Blue Jays in 2020. The team and its fans got a glimpse of the future down the stretch, and the prospects are exciting.
Okay.
The big three, Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. are all under 25. And when paired with ace signing Hyun-Jin Ryu, form the core around which this team will stake its future. While the Blue Jays are still probably a year or two away, Toronto did win 12 of its final 18 games a year ago. And if the kids can build on the flashes of brilliance they showed in 2019, 2020 promises to be the start of something special in TO. The Rockies are looking for a bounce-back season in 2020. After making consecutive playoff appearances for the first time in franchise history, a summer swoon led to a 91-loss season in 2019. Colorado can still match with the best of them, but as is usually the case, their fortunes will rest on the success of their pitching staff. Whether or not they can rebound from an NL worst performance in 2019 will determine whether the Rockies are contenders or pretenders. The Royals never got on track in 2019, losing 10 of their first 12. But there are reasons for optimism in Kansas City. Jorge Soler exploded onto the scene with 48 homers, and Hunter Dozier exceeded all expectations at the hot corner. Salvador Perez is back and healthy, providing another veteran anchor alongside fan favorite Whit Merrifield. If the pitching staff can put together a good performance, the Royals could be one of 2020's biggest surprises. Perhaps no team is as excited as the Miami Marlins for the 2020 season and a chance to begin anew. After all, the Marlins went through the 2010s without posting a single winning record. The rebuild and youth movement continues in Don Mattingly's 5th season. His charges may be light on experience, but they are not light on talent. And Miami's prospects will get a chance to learn on the job in 2020. How well they respond and how quickly they develop will go a long way to determining if the Marlins start to see some tangible progress in the win column. Entering 2020, the Brewers may need a few extra name tags in the clubhouse. Despite back-to-back postseason appearances, Milwaukee turned over the bulk of its roster. It was a bold move. But any team that can lean on Christian Yelich and Josh Hader to anchor its lineup and bullpen is off to a good start. Craig Counsell's teams have shown a knack for outperforming expectations, and the Brewers believe they have what it takes to make it 3 in a row for the first time in franchise history. Halos. After spending most of the last decade as little more than the Mike Trout Show, the Angels made a big splash by signing All-Star Anthony Rendon. The signing breathes new life into a lineup that is suddenly alive with potential. If Shohei Ohtani is healthy, the middle of the order is one of baseball's most dangerous. The Angels believe they are ready to contend and battle the Dodgers for area supremacy. A new era of Angels baseball starts now. Entering the 2020 season as defending NL Central champs, the Cardinals have no plans to abandon that perch anytime soon. St. Louis survived a 3-team scrum, outlasting the Cubs and Brewers down the stretch and advancing to the NLCS. The Central will once again be a battle. Paul Goldschmidt and company know they'll need to be on their game from day one if they want St. Louis to be not just the gateway to the West, but to the World Series. It's October or bust for the Phillies. That may seem like a tall order for what has basically been a 500 team the last 2 seasons, but Philly has all the pieces in place to be among the very best in the game. And the time for patience has passed. The scar tissue of back-to-back September fades could linger in 2020, but if the Phillies can figure out a way to finish, they should find themselves back in the postseason for the first time since 2011. It was a quiet offseason in Oakland, and for good reason. This team is young, talented, healthy, and brings back virtually all key pieces from a team that won 97 games. The A's do everything well and can win games with their bats, their arms, or their gloves. Last year, Oakland overcame a slow start to capture the top wildcard spot. With an improved AL West, if the A's want to make a 3rd straight postseason appearance and win their first October series since 2006, they'll need to get out of the gate much faster in 2020. Sleeper alert, a 1-8 start in 2019 doomed the Cincinnati Reds to a 6th straight losing season in the ultra-competitive NL Central. But Cincy has the look of a sneaky good team in 2020. Getting on the right side of 500 is job one, but the Reds have added experience, leadership, and a bit more pop to their lineup. Combine that with a better-than-you-think rotation, and Cincinnati may find itself playing more than spoiler in 2020. Maybe there is such a thing as karma. After a parade of heartbreaking postseason exits, the Nationals rebounded from a 19-31 start to earn a wild card berth. From there, a truly magical run saw Washington go 5-0 in elimination games, culminating with the first World Series title in franchise history. While a repeat performance is unlikely, considering what happened in 2019, Nats fans can't wait to see what their team will do for an encore in 2020. It may seem hard to believe, but since 2008, the Tampa Bay Rays have 7 seasons of 90-plus wins. Perhaps no team in baseball has been as quietly consistent, and there's no reason to think things will change in 2020. Blake Snell and Charlie Morton are a formidable 1-2 punch atop the rotation, and what the lineup lacks in star power, it more than makes up for in top-to-bottom production. Tampa Bay always seems to be more than the sum of its parts. It should once again be in the hunt for a spot in the postseason. Let's do this, Chicago. It's been 7 years since the Sox posted a winning record. Longer still since their last postseason appearance. But the White Sox offseason moves suggest they see a window of opportunity. Chicago not only re-signed Jose Abreu, they surrounded him with talent, signing 4 former All-Stars. Despite only winning 72 games in 2019, the White Sox have sent clear signals they are ready to contend now. Every year, a team makes the leap and announces itself on the big stage. Is this Chicago's time to shine? You can say this from the New York Mets: it's never boring. After stumbling through the first half of 2019, the Mets played .640 baseball in the second half, including a 26-9 surge that turned them from punchline into playoff contenders. With rookie home run king Pete Alonso anchoring the lineup and 2-time Cy Young winner Jacob deGrom leading the rotation, the Mets will again be an exciting and fascinating team to watch. But can they turn the sizzle into a postseason berth? That's the question to be answered as the 2020 season starts today. In some ways, the fact that the Indians won 93 games a year ago with a makeshift rotation is remarkable in itself. But still, the Indians saw their run of AL Central titles halted, and they missed the postseason altogether, with a 12-17 month of May proving too much to overcome. Now, Cleveland is hungry to reestablish itself as the class of the AL Central. With 3 teams eyeing the top spot, a fast start could prove the difference between playing in October or playing out the string. It all went right for Minnesota in 2019. The Twins led the major leagues in home runs, were second in runs scored, and won 101 games. They posted a winning record in every month, took over the top spot in the AL Central on April 20th, and finished with a kick, going 18-9 in September to cruise to the division crown. The signing of a resurgent Josh Donaldson to hold down the hot corner is a clear sign Minnesota means business in 2020. Can the Twins repeat their success of a year ago and prove they belong among the American League elites? Cubs go! Not just an anthem, but a mantra for the Cubs in 2020. After a 9-game losing streak in the season's final weeks left them home for October, the Cubs are hoping to add a little urgency and edge this year. This is still a franchise with plenty of talent, ranking in the top 5 in both ERA and runs scored. If the Cubbies can find just a bit more consistency down the stretch, they could find themselves back in the postseason at year's end. Here comes the neighborhood. The Astros have owned the AL West since 2017, averaging 103 wins per season. This year, the Stros may find the sledding a bit more difficult. The Angels and Rangers have moved from pretenders to contenders, and Oakland will always be Oakland. Make no mistake, Houston is still the team to beat. Their offense is incredible from 1 to 9. And Justin Verlander heads an elite rotation. With a smaller margin for error, the Astros want to make an early statement that the road to the division title still goes through Minute Maid Park. The heat is on in San Diego. After a disappointing 2019 season, the Padres are expecting substantial improvements in 2020. For the Friars to threaten 500 or even better, the left side of the infield will lead the way. Fernando Tatis Jr. was electric in his rookie year, and with a full season in the NL under his belt, Manny Machado should take a step forward as well. With internal expectations on the rise, can the still young Padres step up and answer the call? The NL East was supposed to be a 4-team fight in 2019, but the Braves used an 8-game winning streak to take over the top spot in early June and never looked back, cruising to a second straight division title. With one of the most exciting rosters in the game today, Atlanta will be looking for a three-peat, and a fast start will put their divisional rivals on notice that the road to the title still goes through Atlanta. It's hard to believe a full decade has come and gone since the Yankees last won a World Series. Last year, they battled a seemingly endless parade of injuries, yet still managed to win 103 games and reach the ALCS. But success is measured differently for the Yankees. And now that they've added Garrett Cole to the rotation, all eyes will be on the Bronx. On the short list of Fall Classic favorites, the Yankees want a fast start to clearly establish their spot as the American League's alpha dog. These are interesting times in the City of Angels. The Dodgers are in the midst of perhaps the most consistently dominant stretch in the team's history, but it has yet to translate into a World Series title. The acquisition of all-everything superstar Mookie Betts gives LA arguably the most dangerous lineup in baseball and moves them to the top of a very short list of Fall Classic favorites. Fair or not, the Dodgers know they will be judged on what happens in the postseason, and their March to October starts now.